I will make one brief announcement, which is Grievous Jones Press, which is based in Cardiff, Wales, is doing a book competition right now for manuscripts 80 to 60 pages, and I'm their poetry editor. So if anybody is interested in submitting a book, let me know and I'll let you know how to do that. All right. And with that, we're going to get the open mic list started, but if any, I know it's been a long night, so if anyone has to get going, we respect that. But the first person on our list is Gary Bond. Gary.
I'm surprised that he signed up at number 1.
Well, I was thinking there would be an intermission, but there's no intermission. So let us move on.
Straight into it.
Okay, so I need my phone. Yeah. So yesterday we got a call. I get a call from Ken Leslie about a gentleman who was seen on an aerial photograph living behind Home Depot on Airport Highway, Lowe's on Airport Highway. So I was going to pass my phone around. You guys can look at these pictures of this teepee that he lived in. Start here, please. You just go like this, back and forth. Just hold it right there, and you can look at the pictures. So we went out to try and move him, obviously, from sleeping outside. So while you're looking, I'm going to read some thoughts. It's called Felipe Martin, and it's a lifeline work in progress. I would believe Felipe Martin to be every man, except that he lives alone. He lives alone like some old prospector or perhaps a deer hunter. Outside of our own tracks in the snow, there were only those of the deer. You see, my friends and I are dreamers, and how much better we are for our encounter with Felipe Martin. I know that I took a lot of photographs. Well, who would believe that we found a black man living in a teepee on the bed of a creek in the year 2010? Steve, even our friends might think us delusional, but I'd be interested in knowing just why you took your photographs. Did you experience a moment of pure disbelief as I did? Or were you, as I seem to expect, working all alone? I mean, I know that you've been to the front line before and already know it possible that an intelligent, well-spoken black man could be living in a teepee behind Lowe's on Airport Highway. I don't even know how to spell teepee. And how incredibly improbable is this anyway? Ken hears something from some city workers who gives him some aerial photographs that he emails to me, an email that I cannot open, but of course Steve can. Down the slippery slope, I hope we don't fall. Steve has taken the point, but has left the keys in the car running. And I am stunned by the absence of color, by the excessiveness of gray, and paralyzed by the indomitable spirit of man to adapt, to survive. And I knew that he'd done that when he said, "My name is Felipe Martin." How great is man for Felipe Martin to have come this far? And how great is God to have brought us to the campfire?
All right, the next person on the list is Matthew. next.
You guys can't win, boy. Man, I didn't take any longer.
Let's just use my last name. Unless anyone else has McHenry as a last name, then we're gonna suck. Well, being as lazy as I am, I'm gonna read something I think I read for like the first time I was here. So they'll just go for it then. I'm gonna keep it short though. It's called An Inconvenient Sleuth. The year was 1983. The location was downtown Detroit. This place also happened to be the rotting, festering, decaying cesspool at the time. More specifically, the place was the cluttered mess of an office of one Brody Aaron, where the story began. The time was 2 in the afternoon and Brody lay in a deep sleep. 6 minutes later, his phone rang violently with no shred of remorse for the unconscious. Brody cursed underneath a pile of dirty clothes, pizza boxes, and unopened letters as he fumbled around for the phone. He picked it up and answered the call by asking, "Do you have any idea what time it is?" There was a silence in the room as the other person on the other end told him that it was 2 in the afternoon. Brody asked why he was called. The person answered, "A murder at the docks." Brody repeated the man's word with giddiness. "I'll be there at 2 shakes of a chimpanzee's tail." Brody jumped out from under his pile of trash and opened his closet. He took out a clean shirt, a pair of pants, and socks. He changed into his fresh clothes and looked at the picture on the desk of his deceased wife and daughter, and he would have cried had his tear ducts actually been functional. 2.5 hours later, Brody arrived at the docks. It was rather windy outside, and his brown trench coat flapped wildly in the wind in unison with his green necktie. He held onto his brown fedora in a successful attempt to prevent its escape from his head. He lifted a portion of his full face mask with the pattern of a smiley face, revealing symmetrical scars on each side of his face, and then stuck a piece of nicotine gum inside of his mouth. Brody cracked his knuckles as he asked the 2 cops at the scene of the crime what was happening. The wider police officer, named Steve, told him that it was a murder, and then he told him that over the phone. His irritation at the masked man was evident as he kept fussing with his brown mustache, but of course Brody ignored the obvious sign. Brody crouched near the cadaver. He poked the body and yelled, "Wake up, you lazy bastard!" And of course nothing happened. Brody came to the conclusion that the man was in fact dead and asked for his paycheck in a calm voice. Steve's face was glowing red with rage. All the pressure residing within his head was released in a rapidly flowing stream of curse words. The younger, timid officer tried his level best to remind his partner of his high blood pressure and urged him to relax away from Brody. Brody started to dig deep into the jacket pockets of the corpse, where he found a wallet and said, "Score! He's got 2 20s. Want one?" He said while waving the bills in the air. "Brody, you're violating the crime scene. How dare you call me a queer necrophilia?" The officer stammered, trying to tell Brody that that's not what he meant. "I'm just joshing you," he said, and he slapped the boy on the back. "If your name was Josh, this would be like a sitcom. Oh, what the hell? Your new name is Josh." Josh tried in vain to protest his new name, but Brody cut him off by telling him to quit fooling around and asked if there were any witnesses. He told Brody of the dock worker who found the body. Brody crouched once more to examine the body. The corpse was lying on his stomach and was reasonably healthy before its obvious death. The man was bald and had a scar that resembled a headband, which appeared to continue onto the front of his head. When Brody flipped the body onto its back, he noticed to his dismay that not only did the scar continue onto his forehead, but that the man had other cuts on the side of his mouth. "This was not the scene of the murder," Brody stated. "How do you know?" the rookie asked. "Elementary, my dear Joshua. My name is..." "Don't argue with your superiors," Brody interrupted. "I bet that you'll also find more cuts all over this body." "Yeah, we know. It's just like the other murders," said Steve, returning from his car. "There were others like this one?" Brody asked, surprised at the news. "Yeah, Aaron, there were 3 others just like this. No connection between the 4 of them. Different races, different genders, different occupation, different everything," Steve answered. "You won't find a connection," Brody stated. "Oh? And how on earth do you know this?" Steve demanded. "Because I know the guy who did this." "And who would that be?" "The same guy who did this to me," Brody answered as he revealed his symmetrically scarred face to the 2 officers. His face appeared to be nearly identical to the cadaver's. Before the two could respond, Brody said, "I'm off to find out where he might be hiding," and he strode away from the docks.